Welcome to Mac's Untold Tales, where we dive into chilling legends from around the world. Tonight we journey deep into the mysterious jungles of Southeast Asia, where a tale of love, betrayal and revenge has haunted villages for centuries. It's the story of the Pontianak, a vengeful spirit, a terrifying ghost who hunts under the light of the full moon. Lock your doors, dim your lights, and prepare for a story that's sure to linger in your nightmares.
It is said that a Pontianak is the restless spirit of a woman who died during childbirth, abandoned or betrayed in life. These spirits are believed to be filled with a deep, unquenchable rage, a fury that transcends the boundaries of life and death. But in death, she returns. Not as the woman she once was, but as something far more fearsome. Her transformation is driven by the pain and suffering she endured, manifesting into a vengeful entity that preys on the living. One village in particular had felt her wrath. The villagers lived in constant fear, their lives overshadowed by the presence of this malevolent spirit. The people spoke of strange cries echoing through the night, sounds that sent chills down their spines. These cries were unlike anything they had ever heard, a haunting melody that seemed to come from the depths of despair. Children were warned not to wander after dark, and men especially were told to steer clear of the forest. The elders shared stories of those who had ventured into the woods, never to return. But Adi, a proud young man, paid no heed to the warnings. He believed himself to be invincible, untouched by the fears that gripped his fellow villagers. He scoffed at the tales, dismissing them as superstition. To him, the stories were nothing more than the product of overactive imaginations. One evening, he set out alone, following a path through the forest, his torch flickering as he walked. The night was still, the air thick with an unsettling silence. As he walked, he heard it, a soft, melodic laughter drifting through the trees. It was a sound that seemed to wrap around him, pulling him deeper into the forest. Adi paused, his heart pounding, but he convinced himself it was the wind. He tried to shake off the feeling of unease that was creeping over him. Yet the laughter grew louder, closer, with an eerie familiarity. It was as if the forest itself was alive, mocking him with every step he took. Before him stood a woman, her back turned, her long hair cascading down her shoulders, her dress pale and torn. She seemed out of place, a ghostly figure in the midst of the dark forest. Adi's curiosity turned to unease. The stories he had dismissed as mere superstition now seemed all too real. He called out to her, his voice trembling, but the figure remained silent. The silence was deafening, amplifying his fear. When she turned, his blood ran cold. The face that met his gaze was not that of a living being. Her face was pale, her eyes hollow, blackened pits filled with a terrible hunger. It was a visage of pure terror, a face that spoke of endless suffering. Her gaze locked onto him, and a sinister smile stretched across her face. It was a smile that promised pain, a smile that sent a shiver down his spine. He realized too late that he was face to face with the Pontianak. The stories were true, and he was now living one of those tales. Adi turned to flee, but the Pontianak was faster. She moved with an unnatural speed, her movements a blur in the darkness. She moved through the trees, her form flickering like a shadow, always just ahead of him. No matter how fast he ran, she was always there, just out of reach. Her laughter grew louder, echoing through the jungle, filling the night with dread. It was a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. In that moment, Adi remembered the warnings, the stories of her long, claw-like nails, sharp as knives, capable of tearing through flesh as easily as silk. He knew he was no match for her. She crouched over him, her face inches from his, her eyes filled with rage and sorrow. It was a look that spoke of a pain that could never be healed. The villagers found Adi's body the next morning, lifeless, his skin pale, his face frozen in terror. The sight of his body sent a wave of fear through the village. He had been drained of all warmth, his body as cold as the jungle mist. The Pontianak had claimed another victim, and the village was left to mourn the loss of one of their own.
And so, the legend of the Pontianak endures, a haunting reminder to respect the dead, and a chilling warning to those who dare wander alone in the dark. The eerie silence of the forest, the rustling leaves, and the shadows that seem to move on their own, all serve as a testament to her presence. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If this tale sent a shiver down your spine, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more chilling stories from Mac's Untold Tales. Until next time, sleep well if you can. Remember, the night holds many secrets.